And welcome again to Cottage Talk. I am Russ Goldman. This is my 5 takeaways I'm taking out of Fulham's 1-1 draw against Wolves on Friday night at Craven Cottage. As always, please do subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. It does help other Fulham supporters find us. If you haven't already, please do check out my full-time show, which I did after the match. And we also had a post-match show, which we recorded on Saturday. So there's a good amount of content for you in regards to this 1-1 draw. This is the final show talking about this match. And I'm just going to share my 5 takeaways in this quick episode. So let's get going. So number 5, and I'm actually going to start with talking about a former Fulham player who was on loan at the time 2 seasons ago, Mario Lemina. And Mario Lemina, I thought, was a difference maker in this match for Wolves. And it's unfortunate that Fulham could not hold on to him. Fulham did have an option to buy Mario Lemina 2 seasons ago, but that was with the caveat that Fulham stayed in the Premier League, which they got relegated. So that situation, reportedly, that's what was in place. And so, unfortunately, they were not able to hold on to Mario Lemina. And he showed Fulham what they're missing out on, because I think that he would have fit in tremendously with the club that we have right now in central midfield. He was very good in this match. And when I did my preview show, it was evident when I talked to my friend Paul, who does a podcast about Wolves, that he's been integral with them in a very short period of time. And he showed his value. And I want to wish him the best and also the best for Wolves moving forward. But it's always good to see a former Fulham player do well, even a player that just came to us on loan, and I do wish him the best. So I wanted to start with that as my number 5. Number 4, and this is something I talked about on Full Time and also talked about on the post-match show with Craig and the Fulham shadow, Emilio Danello. Fulham struggled to get control of the match. This is definitely number 4 takeaway to get out of this. And when I look back at it, I've watched the match back a few times. What's great is that the fact that I have Peacock and also NBC Sports, I can watch this back at will. And there's no question about it that Wolves had full control of this match. They were dictating it. And it got me to think of, well, why is this going on? Why the performance has not been the greatest? And part of it has to do with the opponent's former playing, the tactics of the managers. But also it just has to do with the fact that potentially Fulham did not have Alexander Mitrovic, and that's a factor in all of this. But also, it could be a factor that maybe other clubs are figuring out ways to game plan against Fulham and taking away what Fulham want to do. And that's these overloads on the wings. Fulham want to control the play in the middle of the pitch, but what they really want to do is get the ball out wide and let their winger and their fullback really dictate opportunities into the box. So when you have those 2v1s, that's where Fulham are at their best. And we didn't see that as much in this match. And that's a credit to Wolves. But also a factor could be, along with that, missing Mitro and Fulham not really being able to do what they really like to do. So that's a factor in this as well. Not having Mitro, but just something to look moving forward, because as Emilio said, it's been a while since we've seen the free-flowing Fulham, and hopefully they can get back to that sooner than later. And there are a couple factors going into why Fulham are not able to get control of matches lately. So I just thought I'd bring that up. That's my number 4. Let's now go to number 3. So the first 3 are a little negative, I guess you could say. So there are issues coming up for Fulham in central midfield. This is my number 3 takeaway. And as Emilio mentioned on the post-match show, and it's obvious that Harrison Reed was dealing with a knock, and he actually thought that Marco should have taken Harrison Reed out of the match. That maybe that was also a factor of why Fulham struggled in the first half getting control of the play, because Harrison Reed wasn't at his best and was probably dealing with a knock here. Let's see if there's more to it, but that is something to keep an eye on, along with the situation with João Polina missing the next two Premier League matches. That is going to affect what's going on in central midfield. We still have the situation with Tom Kearney. We've not seen a timeline of when he is going to return. So there's a lot going on here in central midfield. And this is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Also, Andres Pereira is someone that basically picks himself, but I think he also feeds off of what goes on with the other two. So I think his game is affected by the play of the other two central midfielders. So again, I think the midfield three is all interlined, how they play together. And when one is not at its best, I do think it can affect the other two. So this is something to watch because Polina will be out for the next two Premier League matches. We'll have to see about the health of Reed and also Kearney. The good thing is that we do have Sasa Lukic. So hopefully Sasa Lukic, I thought, who played a decent game, can basically pick up the slack for one of these two players. Hopefully Harrison Reed will be back and be okay to go. And hopefully Tom Kearney will be returning as well. But this is an issue with Fulham coming up soon, and we're just going to have to see how this all plays out, how Marco deals with it. And hopefully there are two Fulham players in central midfield that will be back sooner than later. So that's my number 3. Number 2, and this is actually a positive, and I really want to talk about this as my number 2. And this goes back to anyone that had watched full-time, and also mentioned this on the post-match show. I think this is massive because I thought this was great by Robbie Earle on NBC Sports to mentioning this. I don't think Fulham win this match 2 years ago. I think that they definitely lose this match under Scott Parker. And that's for several reasons. The way that they're set up, the way that they played. I think Fulham have shown the ability to bounce back and deal with adversity and can win matches and also get draws when it doesn't seem like things are going their way. Things were not going their way in the last match. They found a way to win. This match, they found a way to get a draw. And as Emilio said on the post-match show, they had an opportunity to win the match. And he was actually feeling a little bit disappointed that they didn't actually get all 3 points. So I think it's very important to look at this, to look at the growth of Fulham Football Club under Marco Silva, that they don't win this match or get anything from this match 2 seasons ago. They lose this match. So for me, this is a huge positive coming out of this match, and that's why this is my number 2 takeaway coming out of Fulham's 1-1 draw against Wolves. To end this quick show, coming up next, I'm going to share my number 1 takeaway, and I do have a bonus topic to end this quick show of Cottage Talk. Okay, so my number 1 takeaway is Fulham continue to show that they can continue to get points without Mitro. And I think this is massive for them moving forward because I think a healthy Mitro makes all the difference in the world. I think takes Fulham to the next level. However, when you don't have a healthy Mitro, you still have to find a way, and of course, when he can't play, to get points. You need to figure out ways to get victories, to get draws. They're doing that. They're doing that without Mitro. It doesn't look the way that it should look, but they're finding ways to get points without Mitro, and that is huge. If you look at Carlos Vinicius, he's not Mitro. He's doing some of the things that Mitro can do, but he doesn't do everything. And I think that affects Fulham. I think, as Emilio said on the post-match show, potentially maybe Marco has adjusted how he wants Fulham to play. They're not playing the ball off in the back as much, potentially because they don't have Mitro up there. So they have to find another way to grit things out, to be more gritty. And they're certainly doing that. And that's a positive to take out of this 1-1 draw. But even moving forward, even going back to the last match where they got all 3 points, That to me, to find a way to get all 3 points against Brighton was huge, and Manor Solomon had something to do with that, but it's not just him. It's the fact that they're not giving up many goals, that they're giving themselves a chance to get points without Mitro. With or without Mitro, they're doing it both ways. The fact that they've only given up this 1 goal in this last match and a few clean sheets before that is huge. It's massive. Fulham are doing everything that they could, and they deserve to be where they are. They're going to come out of this weekend 6th, and they deserve to be 6th. They are playing like a team that should be 6th. The lack of depth could be a factor moving forward. I still think Fulham have a legitimate chance to end in a European place. And I know that there are games in hand with other clubs, but I think the fact that Fulham can get points without a healthy Mitro or without him at all, I think shows that they can do this. They can absolutely do this. I want a European run to a place, and I think Fulham are on their way. I never thought I would say that in regards to the beginning of the season, but they have done so many things right. But I think it always also comes back to being able to overcome adversity. And one thing that they've had to overcome is not having their striker in there. Not having him in there is an adjustment, and Fulham have been able to adjust to not having Alexander Mitrovic. That's why that's my number one takeaway. Moving forward, if Mitro can't play, I think Fulham can still get points, and there are several matches left. One other thing that I want to say this, I actually think that Fulham, I wouldn't say rise to the occasion, but I think Fulham are more suited to play against teams that are higher up the table because they're not going to have as much of the ball, and I think that suits Fulham well, with or without Mitro. So I want to say that as well. Even though they haven't gotten a lot of points against the top 6, I think that Fulham's game flows pretty good against the top 6. And they can do that with or without Mitro. They're better with Mitro, but they can do it without him. And I think this is huge for the rest of the season. So that's why that's my number one. Fulham show that they can continue to get points without Mitro. Okay. Well, like I said, I do have a bonus topic to end this show. And it's not a takeaway. It's just a thought that I want to talk a little bit about. And I know I live far away here in the United States. But one thing that frustrates me a great deal is all of the negativity that I see on social media each and every week, and there's a good amount of it, about the Fulham supporters, about their support. And I actually reacted to a tweet yesterday. If I'm thinking about it now, maybe I don't, but it really upset me because I'm one that bleeds black and white. We'll just call it what it is. And I'm not there. I'm not there at Craven Cottage. I'm not there for the atmosphere, okay? I'm not there. That's regardless of all the claims of the atmosphere. And there are factors of how Craven Cottage is built and all this. But the Fulham supporters support the team 150%. They are there. If you watch the Brighton match, you'll see the reaction after Manor Solomon scores. So this crap that Fulham's support is crap is BS. It's complete and utter BS. The support is fantastic. The thing that a lot of these other supporters don't get is that it's a family club and it attracts people that want a family atmosphere and that think of themselves as part of this huge Fulham family. So it's a different fan base. I think it's unique. I think Fulham are unique, and it's wonderful. Just because we might not be the loudest doesn't mean that we don't support Fulham Football Club 150%. And if you don't think Fulham supporters can be loud, like I said, go back to the Brighton match. So this is all complete and utter BS. It's this pissing contest, as we would say over here. And I've never gotten into whose fans are better. I think it's complete and utter crap. Fulham supporters are extremely supportive, and I will fight all of this crap in regards to other supporters trying to put them down. I might not be there. I might not be at Craven Cottage, but I believe in the Fulham supporters. I know so many of them, and I know how much they care about Fulham Football Club. Fulham has tremendous support. So do not buy the BS from other supporters. And that's basically how I wanted to end this show, because I'm sick and tired of that crap. And I keep saying that word, but I really am. Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode of Cottage Talk. We will have a preview of the FA Cup match for Fulham against Leeds United on Monday. As always, please do subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. It does help other Fulham supporters find us. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. My name is Russ Goldman. Thank you as always for watching and listening to Cottage Talk, now part of the talkSPORT Fan Network.